The Twitter bias is becoming quite an issue. Now, I know Paul Murray upsets a few followers on Twitter, and understandably, given that they are in there carrying the sword for the cause of the centre-right against the way the lefties crash in on people on Twitter. Twitter isn't the real world, sure, but there's some good warriors on there for us, there's no doubt about it. Carolee, the bias associated with Twitter now has reached an amazing point with Donald Trump being censored. They say they are a platform, they're not a publisher, but now they're actually acting like a publisher. They've decided that a tweet from the President of the United States needed to be censored. This is extraordinary and very scary.
Well, Gary, you just took my line because, yeah, you're quite right. They say a platform, now they're acting as a company. And it's interesting that Mark Zuckerberg, founder of Facebook, has actually had a go at them as well, because I'm interested to see when they will fact-check CNN or the ABC, or are they going to go into everybody's account and fact-check that? I mean, you may or may not remember, but it was a couple of years ago that somebody in Twitter actually disabled President Trump's Twitter account, and that raised alarm bells as to where the security is and what can be done and what can be hacked. I don't think that they have the right to do this. It's up to somebody. If you read something, it's your responsibility to go away and do your own homework and get lots of different sources, the same that you're taught at school and at uni or whatever. You know, if you don't believe something, go and look it up. But Donald Trump has every right to do it, and it's actually quite ironic that through Trump's prolific use of Twitter, Twitter has increased its standing as a platform that people can use. The other thing is, but they can't have it both ways, and I think it is definitely the wrong call.
Well, one would hope, John Krause, that they'd be looking at some of the nonsense that comes out of the mouths of a few of the people. As I said, Clementine Ford, said coronavirus hasn't killed enough blokes, apparently. That was her tweet. You got the anti-vaxxers, the people who seem to be incredibly well organised on social media, crashing through and setting up all sorts of robo accounts to try and get their word out. There are people doing damage to other people using social media right now, but they want to pick on Donald Trump.
Well, it does have a very clear partisan attack, Gary, definitely. And there are so many avenues on Twitter that they could have gone down, so many other things they could look at in terms of censoring or fact-checking or whatever they want to call it, in terms of shutting down people's ability to express their view rather than going after the President of the United States. But clearly there is a partisan viewpoint there. Look, I don't agree with everything that Donald Trump says, but he's entitled to express his view, and Americans will get their chance to decide whether they agree with them or not in the great thing called a democratic election come this November. And that's the way it should be. A variety of opinions put out on a variety of platforms. We should be looking for more media diversity these days rather than less. And as we've just seen this week, there has been some reduction in that in some parts of Australia. And that, for a lot of people, is a matter of concern. But in terms of Twitter, I switched that off 6 or 7 months ago, Gary, because it's so unreflective of the mainstream opinion in Australia that for most people it is simply not worth looking at. It is an echo chamber for the left, and I think a lot of people would be better off just saying goodbye to Twitter.